Windmill Wisdom would like to thank the Texas Cattle Feeders Association in Amarillo, Texas, for allowing us to shoot this episode on location at their headquarters.
Thank you guys. We're back for another episode of Windmill Wisdom. Today we're going to be shooting at Texas Cattle Feeders. We want to thank them for allowing us to be here today to use their facilities. We appreciate everything that Texas Cattle Feeders does. I may actually give Robby a little bit of opportunity to talk about Texas Cattle Feeders before we leave today. I'm going to go around the room. We've got a really good panel of folks here today to talk to you about some issues around risk protection and liability. As we move around, I'll start off with Robby. So Robby, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Robby Kirkland. I live out at Vega, Texas. I manage our family-owned operation Feedyard as well as our farming operation, and been out there for 24 years and got the 3 kiddos and my wife Amy, and that's a little about us.
That's good. Rachel?
Hi, I'm Rachel Myers. I'm the owner and operator of Myers Crop Insurance Agency in Claude, Texas. I actually live at Goodnight, which is between Claude and Clarington, and I have 2 boys, Brooks and Reese, and my husband Scott, and we also operate a cow-calf operation there.
All right, my name is Tiffany Lashmet. I'm an extension agricultural law specialist with Texas A&M. My family has a ranch in New Mexico. My husband and I live at White Deer. We're raising a couple of little ones, and we've got some cattle, sheep, and some farm ground as well.
All right. Well, thank each of you guys for being here today. One of the things that we try to do with Windmill Wisdom is just get folks together that work in certain fields in agriculture and around land ownership issues, legal. Tiffany's here representing the Extension Office today. We like to help bring things together for folks that want to know where to get more information. And there's really no limit to what we can talk about today in this session. It's a diverse group of folks. So I want to start up with Robby. Robby, I know that you work around the feed yard and the farming operation, do a lot with cattle. Today we talked about bringing some topics around, mitigating risk, covering risk, and those type of things. We'll just let you kind of start, and you can tell us what you guys do with Kirkland Feedyard, with the feed yard, and all of that. So.
Yeah, so at Kirkland Feedyard, we're primarily customer based operations. So we're about 90% customer based and 10% company owned cattle. So we have several services that we do, and one of them would be helping folks with the risk management, and whether that's through the grain or mostly with cattle. I mean, that's really where people most see their risk. And we all know that there is risk with cattle, with the grain as well. But so, what I do is I try to talk to folks, and everybody has a different risk tolerance. And so that's what we try to talk about and say, all right, what's your risk tolerance? What are you willing to risk, basically? And so we deal with people all the way from cow-calf guys, which is a big hunk of what we do, their retained ownership all the way through. And then we have guys that go out and buy cattle or run stockers or buy stockers, or some that are actually just investor type feeders. So all those different aspects of producers have different risk tolerance. And so that's the first thing I do is I just visit with them. If they want to do some risk management, say, all right, what's your risk tolerance? What do you want to limit, on that risk? Are you willing to limit the top side or limit the bottom side, and then try to build a strategy around, what kind of fits them and their risk tolerance?
I would think when you're talking about this too, just so the folks out there really get what you're saying, is you're talking about a couple of different aspects too, because as the feed yard itself, when you bring their cattle in, one of the things that you risk to take care of for them is herd health. Sure. The health of the animal, but also you're talking about pricing. Yeah. Locking in prices so that all of this works.
That's right. And so, and you're absolutely right. On the herd health, that starts a long time before they ever get to us.
Right.
And visiting with people, trying to help them, get the right vaccination, right timing, right nutrition in front of those cattle before they ever get to the feed yard. And so that's done kind of before we ever see those cattle. You know, the risk management from the price standpoint is more, you know, using the CMT and using the futures board to try to protect, you know, price protect cattle, or, you know, limit that risk at some point.
Well, and you brought up an interesting point also, and I think, you know, definitely around what we do with Windmill Wisdom, we're trying to get resources out to landowners, but that goes hand in fist when you said cow-calf operators,
Yeah.
because what I've heard from you when I've talked to you more than once is that you guys are seeing guys take them all the way from when they're born all the way to the very end, and I think that's cool because you're enabling maybe a person with 50 to 100 cows or something like that to feed them all the way out. Because is that right?
No, that's right. I mean, if you kind of go and look at our customer base, we have guys that have maybe as few as 50 head of cows, to, you know, one of our bigger customers, probably pushing 9,000 cows.
Right.
And so you've got a wide variety of different type of people, and like I said, different type of risk that they can experience. So, that's what we really enjoy, and is working with those customers, the cow-calf guys, and like I said, those retained ownership type guys, because it's been interesting, and I learned a lot from those guys. You know, it's a two-way street, and so you know, the mentality of a lot of these guys that are retaining ownership is that, you know, they're going to market a fat animal rather than marketing a feeder, marketing a calf, and so, you know, and they work really hard on their genetics, work really hard on their health program, and then, you know, in this world of cattle, or the cattle, you know, the beef business, we talk about that it's, you know, you work on averages. I mean, you sell on averages, you buy on averages, but, you know, if you can move the needle in your genetics and your health herd to beat the average, that's where you can take advantage of it. And so if you're just average, it's just going to you're just going to be average. But what I've experienced are the guys that kind of push the needle and push the envelope on their health and their genetics, and they are above average. So then we're able to utilize different things. We're able to utilize, you know, value-based marketing, things like that, to help those guys, you know, bring premium back to their herd.
It's interesting to have. I want to go around and let the other guys talk, because it was when I thought about this group and we were putting them together, because each one of you guys are producers and y'all deal with cattle, so it'll be interesting to hear what these guys have to say in those lines. So, Rachel, you got anything to add?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, even though we're in two totally different businesses, with me selling crop insurance and Robby owning you know, custom cattle feeding business, there's so many similarities in what he said about what he does with his customer base. Because from a crop insurance standpoint, we're in the exact same boat. I have customers that own the land 100%. They are not making land payments. They may or may not have an operating note. And so they may be able to take on a little bit larger risk, therefore choosing a lower level of coverage, paying, you know, less premium, versus I may have customers that the land is financed, the operation is financed. You know, they may be brand new young producers. And so everyone is in a different place when they come to us. And, you know, that's one of my recommendations when talking to customers is take the time to give us your backstory. You know, tell us where you're at. And I'm not asking because I want to know, you know, the intricacies of your business or your financial status, but yet sometimes knowing those things helps me make a much better recommendation of trying to help them protect what it is they're after, because some may only be trying to hit a break even with crop insurance. Others, we may need to be beyond break even so that we can also cover variable costs, fixed costs, etc. So, you know, every customer is different, and I always want them to be as open as they honestly can. And, you know, when someone is brand new, especially coming into our business, when they've either never had crop insurance before or they are seeking a new insurance agent, you know, that's where I think that we really thrive, is taking the time to sit down and go through basically, you know, it's a mini business plan with them of what their goals are, what they want to achieve. And I think at that point we can pull in your traditional crop insurance products through the multi-peril. We can add crop hail insurance if that's what we need to do to get them beyond a break-even point. And then a lot of times we'll find out that they're livestock producers as well. And so we can go through all of the risk management products that are available to the livestock sector, because that's been, you know, I'm not going to say an untapped sector, but people traditionally think of crop insurance as row crop. You know,
Right.
they are there for, you know, corn, cotton, milo, wheat, but in reality, we have products to help protect landowners that have grass, pasture, hay, whether it's alfalfa or an annually planted hay. There's so many more products that have been released in the last 10 years that a lot of people just have not gotten the word on. And so, you know, we encourage them to come talk to us. Tell us what you have, and let us see if we can make a recommendation that would just be, you know, all encompassing for your whole operation.
Well, and the underbelly of that ties in with your guys. I mean, before they ever get to you, there's products out there probably protecting their range.
Yeah.
The things that they're doing to get those calves. I mean, where they're growing the calves, they'd end up in Robby's Feedyard.
Sure, a lot of the
So,
background on our pasture, range, and forage product is to try and protect, you know, the landowners that have, you know, range land, and we've obviously been subjected to drought over, I would love to say the last, you know, 5 to 10 years, but I'm pretty sure where we live, we're going to be,
Yeah.
we're somewhat in an arid climate. So,
Right.
you know, drought is always a part of our history, but with a product that can help protect against that, it allows us to then be, you know, paying funds back to these, you know, people that purchase the insurance policy to help pay for supplemental feed. You know, we may be what pays for the cake that got them through the winter to get the cattle to the feed yard when wheat pasture has played out or whatever it may be.
I remember back in the, you know, I had a background in for a time in crop insurance, and I can remember it always being referred to as a safety net.
Yes.
But really, the entire risk plan that a person has, from their marketing plans to their crop insurance, all those things together really are what create that full safety net.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Tiffany's here today with us and talking around some issues around just liability, you know, and the things that you can do to protect yourself there as well. But Tiffany,
Yeah, one thing I might mention, I mean, I think that what you guys have said is fantastic, and I think that the first thing is, if you're in this business and you're wanting to make sure you've got yourself protected, find yourself some good advisors, some good people that can help you, like Robby, like Rachel, right? Robby can help walk you through some of these herd health type things, helping walk you through, are we going to, you know, hedge in the futures or whatever. You've got Rachel who can help figure out what different types of products are available. I mean, 5 years ago, I think a lot of guys didn't even know about pasture, know, PRF insurance. We didn't. I mean, I came to you, 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. She's our insurance agent. We didn't even know about it. And so that's something, if you get somebody who's knowledgeable, who can really help walk you through those things, I think that's something really important. As far as extension goes, you know, we've got extension economists that are located around the state. Here in the Panhandle, we've got Dr. Justin Benavides. He's fantastic. Somebody else who can help you look at, you know, different sorts of marketing plans, to look at different things like hedging, like crop insurance, and really help make all of that work together. I think finding somebody who can help you fit those pieces together is really important.
Great. Well, Robby, you know, along those lines, when you mentioned something, and we've all touched on it, but understanding that customer is for the same thing that I run into as a real estate agent. Because when I deal with folks and they're either needing to buy or sell, I mean, one of the things that you got to understand is their appetite for risk.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
and it's one of those things that we all know that, you know, there's risk and there's reward. Okay, and so you can limit your risk, but you're going to limit your reward a lot of times. And so a lot of guys have to figure out that, and they have to understand that, okay, the market, you know, we can protect it from going to here, but you know what? If it goes up, that's going to hurt your reward. And so that's where a lot of guys have to, you know, understand. I use the insurance analogy a lot, and when we use options particularly, they are sort of an insurance type event, or kind of a product.
right?
And so we talk about, you know, because a lot of people understand the insurance.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't necessarily understand futures and options,
Right.
you know, so much. And so we try to put it in terms of what are we trying to insure, what are we trying to insure, you know, against, and people begin to understand it.
Well, and you were mentioning understanding your person buying crop insurance, but I know in the last few years with products like enterprise units, things that come in that can have the ability to really help you do a good job if you're a larger scale producer,
Sure.
but at the same time understanding what that means to give up those optional units.
Yes, it's so important that we, I mean, I feel like that is a huge part of my job, is just constantly educating producers on what they're getting themselves into. Just like you said, it's the risk reward relationship. How much risk are you willing to take on, and how much can you afford to take on? And that sometimes is, sadly, that is the bigger portion of our conversation is, you know, call your banker. Let's bring them in as well. Sometimes this needs to be a 3-party conversation, because while you may be able to cut your premium down to, a third of what it would have been. You risk so much more, and can you afford that? It's similar to what we've talked about in our own family operation with hedging and when we fed cattle. We have to be able to play next year. So like Robby's saying, everybody wants to hit the top of the market. Absolutely. Like, we all want to be winners, but sometimes the only opportunity we have is, do we play again next year? Can we put ourselves in a position where we meet our margin goals, we make money, we're going to go again? Because, you can't jump into something, whether it's your farming operation from a crop insurance standpoint or feeding cattle, and be so risky that you're one and done. No one can sustain that. And the market swings now. I know Robby can talk about this so much more than I can, but 10, 15 years ago, we can see a bigger move in the market now in a day than we would see in a 6-month time period.
Exactly.
And that has changed the level of education that our producers have to have when they're getting into, cattle feeding, stalker cattle. Even from a cow-calf standpoint, you can't just sit around. Being a price taker is a thing of the past if you want to be sustainable.
Well, and that's a great point. We're fixing to have to take a break for just a minute, but when we get back, let's get a little deeper into that, and we'll be back here in just a minute. Thanks.
Windmill Wisdom would like to thank Robby Kirkland, owner and operator of Kirkland Feedyard, and his family farm operation. Kirkland Feedyard is home to a combination of customer and company-owned cattle. Their business is managed with the realization that each day they are producing food to help feed other families. To contact Robby, you can go to the mequicklink.com/Robby Kirkland, or you can click the ME Quick link in the video description below.
At M. Edwards Realtors, we believe in the right mix of old-fashioned values combined with cutting-edge technology. We know presentation is paramount, and we are serious about high-quality video, photography, and maps. We also know that information is key, and will work hard to help you make informed decisions throughout your transaction. Not only are we your real estate professional, our team has experience in farming, ranching, ag lending, conservation, and risk management. Whether selling or buying, let our experience go to work for you.